The room smelled of polished oak and stale grief, the kind that clings to velvet curtains and brass lamps like a bad memory. I sat there, my hands clenched in my lap, the leather chair creaking under my weight as the lawyer's voice droned on like a funeral dirge. My parents' will, my dead parents' final words, etched in legal ink. My sister, Elena, perched beside me, her manicured nails tapping a rhythm of impatience on the armrest. Then came the moment that shattered everything. To our beloved daughter Elena, we bequeath the entirety of our estate, valued at approximately $6.9 million, including the family home, investments, and all liquid assets. Elena's lips curled into a smug smile, her eyes flicking toward me with feigned sympathy. But it was my parents' recorded message, played on that ancient cassette player the lawyer dragged out, that gutted me. Their voices, ghostly and mocking, filled the room. And to our son Marcus we leave $1. That's all you deserve, boy. For the disappointment you've been. Laughter followed, my mother's high-pitched cackle, my father's booming guffaw, echoing off the walls like a slap. I froze, blood roaring in my ears, the world tilting as humiliation burned through me like acid. $1. And their laughter immortalized, as if my entire life was a joke they'd scripted. I stumbled out of that office into the biting autumn wind, the single-dollar bill crumpled in my fist. It wasn't just the money. It was the erasure. 38 years of existence reduced to a punchline. Elena caught up to me on the sidewalk, her heels clicking like accusations. Marcus, wait. It's not what you think. Her voice was honeyed, the way it always was when she wanted something, or when she was covering her tracks. I whirled on her, my face inches from hers, the scent of her expensive perfume choking me. Not what I think. They laughed, Elena. Laughed while they spat on me. She reached out, her hand hovering like a threat. They were old, confused. Dementia, maybe. Come on, I'll share it with you. 50-50. But her eyes, those cold, calculating eyes, betrayed her. I'd seen that look before, in boardrooms where she climbed over colleagues, in family dinners where she twisted words to make me the villain. Betrayal wasn't new. It was our family's currency. But this was the final transaction. Back in my cramped apartment, the walls closing in like a coffin, I paced. The dollar sat on the kitchen table, mocking me under the fluorescent light that buzzed like a swarm of doubts. Anger surged first, hot, blinding, making me smash a glass against the wall, shards scattering like my shattered illusions. Why me? I'd been the dutiful son, the one who dropped everything when Dad's heart failed, who sat through Mom's chemo sessions while Elena jetted off to business meetings in Europe. Heartbreak followed, a hollow ache in my chest as memories flooded. Dad teaching me to ride a bike, Mom baking my favorite pie on birthdays. Were those lies too? Resentment brewed, thick and bitter, toward Elena, the golden child who'd always gotten the praise, the opportunities, the love. But beneath it all, obsession stirred, a dark seed planting roots. What if I fought back? Not with lawyers, that was her game. Something personal, something that would make her feel the same void. That night sleep evaded me. I lay staring at the ceiling cracks, my mind a whirlwind of fantasies. I imagined storming her mansion, our family home now hers, and confronting her with evidence of her manipulations. She'd whispered in their ears for years, I knew it. Marcus is unstable, remember that DUI from college? Never mind, it was a setup, her friend behind the wheel, me taking the fall to protect her. Doubt crept in. What if I was wrong? What if they truly hated me? Guilt twisted the knife. They were dead, gone, and here I was plotting against my only sibling. But the laughter replayed in my head, a loop of torment. By dawn, resolve hardened, cold and unyielding. I wouldn't lash out blindly. No, revenge required precision, like the surgeries I'd performed as a doctor before burnout claimed my career. I'd dissect her life, expose the rot beneath her perfect facade. The next morning I started small, subtle. I called old family friends, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Just checking in after the funeral, I'd say, steering conversations toward Elena. Mrs. Hargrove, Mom's bridge partner, let slip something over tea in her sunlit parlor. Your sister was always so persuasive. Convinced your parents to rewrite the will last year. Said you didn't need it with your successful practice. Successful. I'd lost my license after a malpractice suit. Another of Elena's gifts, I suspected. Her anonymous tip to the board about my erratic behavior. Sensory details assaulted me. The bitter taste of chamomile, the tick of the grandfather clock marking time like a countdown. Tension built in my chest, a slow coil. I thanked her politely, but inside, plans fermented. Elena invited me to dinner that week. Her voice over the phone laced with false warmth. Let's bury the hatchet, Mark. Family first. I agreed, arriving at the sprawling estate where we'd grown up, the gravel driveway crunching under my tires like bones. The house loomed, its Victorian gables casting long shadows in the twilight. Inside, crystal chandeliers glittered, the air thick with the aroma of roasted lamb. Mom's recipe, twisted into Elena's show of dominance. She greeted me with a hug, her silk blouse cool against my skin, but her eyes scanned me like a predator assessing prey. You look tired, she said, pouring wine with a steady hand. The will. It was a shock for me too. We sat at the mahogany table, candles flickering, casting eerie dances on the walls. Dialogue flowed, natural yet laced with barbs. Why do you think they did it? I asked, my fork scraping the plate, the sound grating like my nerves. She sighed, theatrical. They always favored me, I guess. You were the rebel. Rebel. For pursuing medicine instead of the family business. Suppressed rage simmered. I forced a smile, probing deeper. Remember that summer in the Hamptons? You convinced Dad I stole his watch. She laughed, light and dismissive. Kid stuff. Water under the bridge. But her knuckles whitened on the stemware, a tell. Hints emerged. Her offhand mention of handling the finances before they died. Her quick change of subject when I asked about the lawyer. Suspense mounted in the silence between words, my mind racing. Did she forge signatures? Poison their thoughts with lies. As dessert arrived, chocolate mousse rich and cloying, I excused myself to the bathroom, heart pounding. Upstairs, the hallway creaked under my footsteps, memories whispering. Our shared bedroom, now her office. I slipped in, the door clicking shut like a trap. Drawers yielded secrets. Bank statements showing transfers from our parents' accounts to hers, dated before their decline. A letter half buried. Dearest Elena, we've updated the will as you suggested. Marcus doesn't understand loyalty. My breath caught, fury igniting. But fear flickered. What if she caught me? Moral conflict gnawed. Was I becoming her, sneaky and vengeful? I pocketed a photo of us as kids, a reminder of what was lost, and returned downstairs, my face a mask. That night, driving home through rain-slick streets, wipers thumping like a heartbeat, obsession deepened. I'd build a case, not for court, but for ruin. Hire a PI. Too traceable. No, I'd do it myself, quiet and strategic. Inner thoughts warred. This is justice, not revenge. But doubt lingered. Would it heal the heartbreak or just spread the poison? Weeks blurred into a haze of surveillance. I tailed her in my beat-up sedan, parked in shadows outside her office, the exhaust fumes mixing with my stale coffee breath. She met lovers, bribed officials, subtle hints in hurried whispers, envelopes exchanged in dimly lit cafes. Resentment fueled me, but guilt shadowed. Our parents, flawed as they were, wouldn't want this. Yet the laughter echoed, driving me on. One evening, as fog rolled in off the river, I broke into her home while she dined out. The alarm code, our birth date, unchanged, beeped acceptance. In the study, amid leather-bound books and the faint scent of cigar smoke, I found the jackpot. A hidden safe, cracked with a code from childhood games. Inside, documents. Forged medical reports labeling me unfit. Emails to lawyers twisting facts. Heartbreak peaked. They'd believed her lies. But cold resolve settled, she'd pay. Planning intensified, a slow burn. I'd expose her fraud publicly, but with a twist. frame it as her confession, using her own words against her. Fantasies evolved. Her face crumbling on national news, the empire she'd built on our family's bones collapsing. But doubt persisted. What if it backfired? Moral grayness enveloped me. Revenge felt justified, yet tainted. The turning point came at a family gathering she hosted. Relatives milling in the manicured gardens, laughter tinkling like wind chimes. I arrived uninvited, the air crisp with fall leaves crunching underfoot. Elena's eyes widened, but she played hostess. "Marcus, join us." Tension crackled as I mingled, dropping subtle barbs. "Elena always gets what she wants, doesn't she?" Whispers spread, seeds of doubt. In the kitchen, alone with her, suppressed rage boiled over. "I know what you did," I hissed, the knife block gleaming ominously. She paled but recovered. "You're paranoid. Get help." Her denial fueled my fire. As guests left, I lingered, the house emptying like my soul. In the quiet, I planted a bug in her phone. Small, insidious, bought from a shady contact. Now I'd hear her secrets. Suspense built as days passed, recordings piling up. Her admitting to manipulations in calls to lovers, laughing about poor Marcus. Obsession consumed me. I barely ate, the apartment a mess of notes and wires. Inner conflict raged. Am I the monster now? But the pursuit pressed on, toward inevitable confrontation. The recordings became my Bible, played on loop in the dim glow of my laptop screen, Elena's voice a venomous whisper. "Yeah, I nudged them along." Marcus was always the weak link, easy to paint as unstable. Each word stoked the fire, resentment morphing into cold calculation. I sat in my apartment, the city lights flickering through rain-streaked windows like distant warnings. Planning consumed me. I'd compile a dossier, leak it anonymously to media, her board, her lovers. But fantasies darkened. What if I confronted her first, made her beg? Guilt flickered, she was blood after all. Yet the humiliation replayed, their laughter a ghost haunting my resolve. Moral conflict deepened. Justice or vengeance? The line blurred, gray as the dawn sky. I started with small strikes, building suspense like a tightening noose. An anonymous email to her company, hinting at financial irregularities, transfers I'd documented. Her response, captured on the bug. Panicked calls to accountants, voice cracking. "Fix this. If Marcus finds out." She suspected me, but doubt lingered in her tone. I watched from afar, parked outside her office, the engine humming softly, exhaust curling like my twisted thoughts. Heartbreak resurfaced in quiet moments, flashes of us as kids, building forts in the backyard, her protecting me from bullies. Was that real, or another manipulation? Obsession pushed doubt aside. I hacked her email next, using a tutorial from the dark web, fingers trembling on the keys in the dead of night. What I found shattered illusions further. Correspondence with our parents, years of poison. "Mom, Dad, Marcus is using again. Don't trust him with money." Lies, all lies. I'd been clean since college. Fury blinded me, but I copied files methodically, the hard drive whirring like my racing pulse. Then a deeper secret. An affair with Dad's business partner, leveraged to sway the will. Layered motives emerged. Her not just greedy, but broken, seeking control in a loveless family. Empathy flickered, but resentment quashed it. She wasn't a victim, she was the architect. Tension escalated when she called me, voice laced with suspicion. "Marcus, we need to talk. Come over." I agreed, arriving at dusk, the house a silhouette against storm clouds. Thunder rumbled as she opened the door, her face gaunt, eyes shadowed. "What's this about?" I asked, stepping into the foyer, the marble cold under my shoes. She led me to the study, pouring scotch with shaking hands, the amber liquid glinting. Dialogue sharpened, revealing cracks. "I know you're behind the leaks. Stop this madness." I feigned innocence, but rage simmered. "Madness. Like leaving your brother $1 while you laugh." She slammed her glass down, liquid spilling like blood. They chose me. You were always the screw-up. Suppressed truths tumbled. Her admissions of forgery, her pleas for mercy. I'll give you half. Just stop. But her eyes held no remorse, only fear. A predator cornered. I left that night with her promise ringing hollow, rain lashing the windshield as I drove. Inner thoughts warred, take the money. No, that was surrender. Revenge demanded more, poetic justice, her empire in ruins. I accelerated the plan, contacting a journalist friend anonymously, feeding documents. The story broke days later. Headlines screaming heiress accused of will fraud. Her photo splashed across screens. I watched from a cafe, the espresso bitter on my tongue, as her world unraveled. Calls flooded my bug. Board members deserting, lovers ghosting, her sobs echoing in empty rooms. But suspense twisted. She fought back, hiring investigators, her voice on recordings turning vengeful. Find proof on Marcus. Make him pay. Fear gripped me. What if she uncovered my break-in? Moral grayness intensified. I'd crossed lines, become the manipulator. Doubt plagued quiet nights, staring at that childhood photo. Guilt a heavy shroud. Yet resolve held. This was retribution. The climax loomed at a confrontation I orchestrated, luring her to our parents' gravesite under pretense of truce. The cemetery was fog-shrouded, gravestones looming like judges, the earth damp and earthy. She arrived, coat billowing, face pale under the moon. "What do you want?" she spat, wind whipping leaves around us. I revealed everything, the recordings, documents. My voice steady despite the storm in my chest. "Admit it. All of it." Tension peaked as she broke, tears streaming. "I did it because they loved you more. Always the sun, the air. I had to fight for scraps." Shocking revelation, her jealousy. Hidden motives flipping the narrative. Heartbreak surged. We'd both been victims of parental games. But rage overrode. "You destroyed me." I played their laughter from my phone, the sound tinny and haunting. She lunged, grabbing my collar, fabric tearing. In the struggle, she slipped on wet grass, head striking a stone with a sickening thud. Horror froze me, blood pooling, her eyes glassy. Panic hit. Accident or intent? I checked her pulse, faint but alive. I called 911 anonymously, fleeing into the night, rain masking my tears. The twist unfolded in the hospital. She survived, amnesia claiming her memories. The fraud case collapsed without her testimony, but her reputation was tatters. I inherited nothing materially, but the will's exposure voided parts, leaving scraps to charity. Poetic justice. Or curse. Guilt consumed me now, obsession replaced by remorse. In my apartment, the dollar still on the table, I realized the true betrayal. Our family's poison had turned me into them. Laughter echoed in my mind. Not theirs but mine, hollow and broken. Unexpected consequences rippled. Relatives shunned me, suspecting foul play. Elena, memory wiped, reached out innocently. "Brother, let's start over." Irony stung. Revenge granted absolution she didn't deserve. I walked away into anonymity, the pursuit ending not in triumph, but quiet devastation. Moral grayness lingered. Was I avenged or just another casualty?